With a former WWE star making his debut for New Japan and Seth Rollins throwing shade towards Bray Wyatt, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for October 17th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Roman Reigns has truly come into his own as the Tribal Chief and Universal Champion, with him set to defend his title against Brock Lesnar at Crown Jewel. Speaking to Bleacher Report, he talked about his current championship reign and noted his most special matches. One that's super special to me as well, outside of the stuff I did with my family because it was so strong with Jay, was the match I had with Edge at Money in the Bank. I believe that was in Fort Worth, the first pay-per-view back. I have not watched that match back, so I can't really detail the energy, and if it was as loud as it was in the arena, but in the arena, that crowd was live. The timing and the pacing, I've seen some critique and call it a little slow, but that's what the heavyweights and main events do. I'm not going to go out there and sprint around and do flips for no reason. We were following the actual Money in the Bank ladder match, which is just a spot fest and crazy stunt fest in its own right. To go in there with Edge, everyone knows what he's done for this business, the experience and the passion that he brings. To go out there and experience that reaction and that story that was being told out there together, it was phenomenal. In that same interview, Roman touched on what he misses from the Thunderdome era of programming. I don't miss travel, man. I don't miss being on planes. I don't miss being in the air. The Thunderdome was nice because it was in Orlando for a bit and Tampa, so I would literally get picked up on the bus, head up there, 3.5 hour drive to both, do my stuff, and get back on the bus and get back home that night. That process created a silver lining, and also being home with my family and my children and my wife. There's no replacing that. I do not miss travel. On the It's My Wrestling podcast, the Godfather talked about The Undertaker possibly returning for one more match, as he made it clear that Taker does not need the money that a comeback to in-ring action would make him. He really does not need the money. Believe me, I don't think you will see him back. He called me and told me, he says, "Big dog, I'm done." He goes, "I'm done now. I'm finally done." He has never called me and told me that. He has told me that I am trying to get out. Vince won't let me go. Keeps throwing big numbers at me to wrestle once a year. I am very sure he is done. I think physically he's done, and mentally he is done. On that same podcast, Godfather noted that his tag title win over the Hardy Boys with Bull Buchanan was caused by Taker, as he had a conversation with Vince McMahon. So when they took me in as the Good Father, it wasn't fun no more. So right away I was like, dude, I'm out of here. I think Taker went to Vince and said I'm getting ready to leave, and all of a sudden they dropped the belts on me, and I had loyalty. I'm not going to run out with the belts. As soon as they got those belts off us, then I finished that because I really wasn't having fun. Speaking on Moose and Maggie, AEW President Tony Khan mentioned the impact of signing the likes of CM Punk and Bryan Danielson. It's been amazing with the business lift we've seen in terms of every major business metric. At All Out, we set our pay-per-view record last month with the biggest pay-per-view, not just that we've done, but any independent wrestling company outside of the big guy, the WWF and WWE, has done in the last 23 years since 1999. Since the 90s was the last time anybody had gone out and in competition done that kind of pay-per-view, and what really made me very happy is it was the most critically acclaimed pay-per-view in a really long time. People really engaged with it and liked it, and I'm so glad it clicked with people because so many people saw it. And then to do a show everyone really was happy with and was well received meant a lot to me. CM Punk and Bryan Danielson have come to AEW and given us a huge lift, because not only are they these really recognizable wrestlers, pretty much almost every fan knows CM Punk and Bryan Danielson from all the years they've been on TV to such a wide audience around the world, but also they're great wrestlers, and that's AEW's about as great matches. It was reported not long ago that AEW EVPs have lost creative control, with Khan being the main main person in charge. Of course, that report was debunked as Khan addressed this, saying, "Yeah, I have been. I saw that come out recently. It's true that I am booking and writing everything by hand, but the fact is each kind of program I'm very hands-on, but I am also great at working with people. I just work with a ton of people, so that means having personal relationships with maybe 100 or more people in the company, but that's a good thing. And in the pandemic, you've learned how to keep in contact virtually more than ever. It's allowed me to get my hands around it. But even before the pandemic, really before that, it was at the beginning of 2020, not really at the end of 2019. I told myself going into the new year, I'm just gonna do everything by hand, because at first coming in, I was timing everything, and I would keep track of times, and we had a great group of people. I still do have a great group of people, but I just needed to probably take more ownership of what I was doing, because at the end of the day, there were a lot of cooks in one show. And it's just hard because I still want to get everyone's ideas, but you have to organize everything into one show, and that's why I still love working with everyone. But I just thought it was a little misleading because somebody just reported that recently, but it's really been that way since about 2020, and things got really hot around then too. So I think it's been good for our business because I'm very organized and meticulous about how AEW is structured, what matches go on, and to make sure we have a lot of time for the wrestling and have great matches. With him being shockingly released from WWE, Bray Wyatt should see his non-compete clause run out on the 29th. On Talking Smack, Seth Rollins was hyping up his Hell in a Cell match against Edge at Crown Jewel, where he threw shade on Wyatt. "I've actually spent more time inside the cell than Edge has, and I'm capable of being more dangerous inside the cell than he is. And if you don't believe me, you can ask the guys that I've been in the cell with." Oh, that's right, 2 of the 3 of them aren't here anymore. Rollins was talking about Jon Moxley and Bray Wyatt, and of course, the match against Wyatt almost caused Rollins to strangle Vince McMahon due to the poor booking, as we hope his match against Edge is a great one. Former WWE star Buddy Matthews has been announced to make his New Japan Pro Wrestling debut, which will take place at the Battle in the Valley event on November 13th in San Jose, California. In that video package, he mentioned his time in WWE and being under the tutelage of Seth Rollins, as we'll have to see how he does going forward. WWE Hall of Famer Madusa sat down with Women's Wrestling Talk, where she mentioned having a retirement match. "I feel that I deserve a retirement match. I don't care if it's 3 minutes or if it's an hour long. I deserve one, and every federation knows I have it out there. Hello Impact, hello AEW, hello WWE, hello NWA, hello Ring of Honor, hello Impact, whatever, right? And so it's out there, and I would definitely have a retirement match, and I would choose my opponent, and the opponent would have to be someone that could carry me. And what I mean by that is no disrespect to myself, is that if I were to forget something and I need someone to take care of my body, because I'm not 20, I mean, you have to be real, you know, I'm much older than Trish and Lita. You know, I could be both of your mother, you know. Yeah, you'd have to be somebody that would take care of me in the match, and of course, likewise. When it comes to what is next for Braun Strowman following his release from WWE, he has been in talks with the executive VP of Impact Wrestling, as PW Insider reported. Adam Scherr was spotted meeting with Impact Wrestling's Scott D'Amore last night at the hotel bar for the Motor City Comic Con in Detroit. We were told the two were sitting for a long time, with Scherr arriving to meet D'Amore, who was waiting for him. Impact has a ton in store for the Bound for Glory pay-per-view, as we already have heard that the Inspiration will be receiving a Knockouts tag team title match at the event. One half of the women's tag team champions, Rhea Ripley, could be the victim of theft, as her gear bag has gone missing, which includes the title belt. She took to Twitter to ask for those that see the bag being sold online to contact her. On After the Bell, Carmella talked about Becky Lynch returning during SummerSlam to take her spot in the SmackDown Women's title match against Bianca Belair, saying it was crazy. I watched them doing packages now and they just write me out of this history. First of all, I was part of this huge moment at SummerSlam. If my music had not hit initially, then I don't think Becky would have gotten the reaction she did. I'm going to say that. I know that's pretty cocky to say, but if Becky's music hit first, would she have gotten a great reaction? Of course, she's Becky Lynch. However, when my music hit, they were so mad. I'm walking down the aisle, taking my sweet time, and relishing in this moment. So when Becky's music hit, it made it that much bigger. I'm proud of that moment. She would also address the negative reception to Lynch's comeback on social media. It's insane. That's Twitter for you. We want Becky, now we have her, we didn't want her like that. Sorry, you can't have your cake and eat it too, but that is wrestling Twitter. I'm excited for that match. Those girls are going to tear it down, and I kinda want to see Bianca walk out as champion. She would also discuss how closely knit the SmackDown locker room is. I mean, this is our family. We spend more time on the road than we do at home. So the girls that you're surrounded with in the locker room, because in the locker room become your family. I've been on SmackDown since the inception of the draft in 2016, so this is all I know, and I take pride in knowing that SmackDown has always had a very positive locker room camaraderie. I've only ever been on SmackDown, so that's like my locker room, and the girls there, I love the girls. I'm excited for Raw. Our locker room on Raw is going to be great too. With the New York Post, Sasha Banks mentioned her notable absence from SummerSlam but did not have much of an explanation as to why she was not there. There's no reason. I'm not telling you anything. You're not Oprah. You're not the WWE Network. You're not getting me the views. I'm not telling you my secrets. You can read my book. You can read my documentary when I want to speak about it. Thank you very much. Of course, Banks is set on taking back her SmackDown Women's title, as she noted. I can't let Bianca and Becky, two Raw superstars, take my hard work, my SmackDown Women's Championship to that show, so I definitely have to make sure that I keep that SmackDown title on Friday Night SmackDown, and with Charlotte coming into the mix on SmackDown, it's definitely going to be a cool little rivalry that we're going to have. Banks will be facing Belair and Becky in a triple threat match at Crown Jewel, as we'll have to see who comes out on top. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.